Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing how Eberechi Eze haunted Tottenham Hotspur again this season. But before that, as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes along with helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 295 subscribers. We're only 5 away from my main target, 300. Can we go and smash it? Hopefully we can. I'll be absolutely over the moon. I just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely to go unnoticed. And yeah, let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Arsenal beat Tottenham Hotspur 4-1 on Super Sunday, beating their North London rivals once again this season, and it was the exact same scoreline. And again, Eberechi Eze was the main star in this game, scoring a brace. Absolutely fantastic scenes from him. The link-up play with Gykores and Eberechi Eze in this game was absolutely superb. Tottenham midfielders, Tottenham defenders couldn't do anything about it. Some of the link-up play was absolutely fantastic, and that's where the first goal came from for, Arsenal in this game, okay? Bukayo Saka had the ball on the right hand side. He was cutting in between he was cutting in between the left back, of course. He sort of runs on into the box. Nice little delivery straight into Eberechi Eze's path. He had a few defenders around him, but he chips the ball up and just smashed it straight past Viktor in net. Okay, don't get me wrong, it was fantastic technique from Eberechi Eze because he had a lot of defenders around him, and he could have easily got a touch on that and just cleared it away. But the Arsenal midfielder was not going to let it happen, was it? Honestly, fantastic scenes. And don't get me wrong, okay, in the first half an hour, it was looking a bit like even Stevens, of course. And again, one thing that shocked me, okay, after the first goal went in this game, you know, Tottenham Hotspur equalised straight away in the 34th minute, okay, through Mawani, the French striker, okay. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a clue what Declan Rice was doing. He was trying some Iniesta sort of dribbling mobility, but he absolutely messed up, didn't he, Declan Rice? It was inside his own box. It tried to dribble away from the Tottenham midfielders and their forwards and whatnot, and it just looked so rash from that England midfielder. I don't have a clue why he would try that. It just didn't look silky whatsoever. Declan Rice, he should have just kept it simple in that sort of area of the pitch, but he tried some sort of skill move. He sort of loses the ball, and it allows the Tottenham midfielders to sort of run into the box, passing it straight to Mawani, and he just slots it home, doesn't he? Straight past David Raya. You know, we do know one thing about the Tottenham striker, the French striker Mawani. He does have a good partnership with former Juventus manager Igor Tudor, who's now the Tottenham Hotspur manager. So we'll have to wait and see if he can score some more goals in the last second half of the season. And with like 11 games left to play, we'll have to wait and see. And he almost got a second goal as well, didn't he? But obviously that got called out for offside. So going into half time, Mikel Arteta at 1-1, he must have been absolutely raging at his players. Conceding the goal as like he did 2 minutes after he exactly just scored. I just couldn't believe that. He must have been raging with Declan Rice. But 2 minutes after half time, okay, Viktor Gykores scores an absolute beauty of a goal, okay, outside the box. Takes a bit of a heavy touch, to be honest. It was a bit smoother than he usually was, a bit of a heavy touch, however. But he still managed to get the ball, turn on the half turn if you like, and literally smash it straight past Viktor once again in this game. And for me, Viktor Gykores, this is probably his best overall performance in an Arsenal shirt this season because the hold-up play was there, his link-up play was there, him running in behind was there. He was creating chances for himself as well. He looked an absolute menace in this game. Honestly, I was quite surprised what I was watching. Tottenham did have a few chances to get back in the game. Mawani sort of scored a disallowed goal in the sense of, nice little crossing into the box. The ball lands to Mawani. He plays it straight past David Raya and goal. However, it gets disallowed because he sort of pushes in. He sort of pushes Gabriel in the back, didn't he? For me, Gabriel did go down a little bit easy, but you could say it was clever defending. So you have to let me know in the comments down below, Arsenal and Tottenham fans, what do you think about this challenge? Should it have been a goal? I'm not too sure. For me, it is a little bit too soft, and I would have liked to seen it being allowed as a goal because at 2-2, it could have made the game a lot more interesting. I think that decision sort of ended the game for Tottenham Hotspur in a sense of they couldn't get back into the game after that decision was disallowed for them, and that's where Arsenal scored their third goal, okay, of the game. Thanks to Eberechi Eze once again. Nice little counter attack between Bukayo Saka and Eberechi Eze on the right hand side. I'm pretty sure Bukayo Saka was going on through a goal. He tries to take it around the keeper, but then it goes off his leg or something, and then the ball sort of bounces back out to Eberechi Eze. He has to do a little bit between getting a few defenders around and sort of he has to move around a few defenders. Sort of has to put the ball in the back of the net between the goalkeeper of Vicario. So it wasn't an easy finish for Eberechi Eze by anybody's standards, but it was a bit of an open net. So from that point of view, he didn't have a lot to do, if you like. So from that, so 3-1 at this point in the 61st minute, you got to think to yourself, pretty much game over from a Tottenham Hotspur point of view. You know, in this game, Arsenal did have 20 shots compared to Tottenham's 6. They had 60% possession compared to Tottenham's 40. So you know what I mean. Arsenal created so many more chances. They probably did deserve to win this game, didn't they? And then the icing on the cake for the Arsenal fans was Viktor Gykores getting his second goal of the game. Scoring Arsenal's fourth, okay, in the 90th minute. For me, at this point, Viktor Gykores again, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, he was absolutely amazing in this game, and he definitely deserved to score a brace. In this game, the ball sort of landed to him on the left hand side. He's sort of challenging. He's sort of on a 2v1, if you like. He's batting it out with one of the defenders now. He's in the box. One of the defenders sort of tries to take it away from Viktor Gykores, but he sort of outmuscles him a little bit, pushing him off the ball, and he sort of gets his shot off before the defender can sort of react, if you like, and he just smashed it straight past Vicario once again in this game, and that was pretty much all we wrote for the game, wasn't it? For unlucky enough for Tottenham Hotspur again. Now you got to think to yourself, Arsenal are 5 points ahead of Man City for in the Premier League. You got to think to yourself, it's theirs to lose now, isn't it? You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I did do a video, in my last video was about Man City, praising them, seeing how good they've been and whatnot. And if Tottenham Hotspur could have got something out of this game, that would have been absolutely amazing. But again, they just couldn't, could they? And now they're currently, on 29 points, in 16th place. West Ham in 18th place, they're only 4 points behind Tottenham Hotspur, okay? They could literally quite easily catch up to them, considering, how well they've been playing in recent weeks, you know what I mean? Tottenham Hotspur aren't out of relegation battle whatsoever. With 11 game weeks left to play, we'll have to wait and see what can actually happen. Can they actually get relegated in this Premier League season? It'd be so funny if they can. Could you imagine Arsenal winning the Premier League for the first time in 20 seasons, something like that, and then North London rivals getting relegated in the same season? The Arsenal fans would be absolutely going berserk, wouldn't they? They'll be over the moon, they'll be buzzing with that. Could you imagine a storyline in that, honestly? But yeah, for me, Eberechi Eze, for me, Mikel Arteta needs to start Eberechi Eze week in, week out. He needs to run the games, doesn't he? We've seen what he can do now, but again, he just hasn't been consistent enough doing it. He's looked good in some games, he's looked poor in some games, he's looked average in some games, and for me, he needs to play for the rest of the season. That's what I want to see him do. I want to see him play with. I want to see him build. I want to see him build a strong connection with Bukayo Saka, like he has done in this game. I want to see Gykores, starting to come into his own. He's scored 8 goals this season now. I'm pretty sure, hasn't he? So even though a lot of rival fans are slating him, saying that he's slowly sort of writing him off already, even because considering he's only scored 8 goals and whatnot. Previously only scoring 6 goals in before this game, at least. Anyways, a lot of fans were sort of saying he's probably been one of the worst signings this season as well, wasn't he? So, I think it's a little bit harsh because we've seen in spells that he can be decent and he can become a good striker in the Premier League. But when Arsenal fans were saying at the start of the season, all they need is a goal scorer. And when Viktor Gykores was a striker, they thought they were, were when they thought Viktor Gykores was the man to do that, to come in and score the goals, he just hasn't been that person, has he? So it is a little bit disappointing because you probably would have expected him to become a 20 goal striker. You probably would have expected him to become a 20 goal season striker, wouldn't you, Viktor Gykores? So it was a little bit unfortunate he hasn't done that this season. If he can end the season on, I want to say, 12 to 15 goals and win a Premier League season, I don't think it's as disappointing as other rival fans probably would say. You know what I mean? I think, him and Sesko at the moment, there are comparisons, where Arsenal fans were sort of suggesting maybe by Sesko as well. And, they sort of started off the season quite slowly, and now he's seen under Michael Carrick, he's sort of starting to come good, isn't he? Benjamin Sesko scoring a few goals here and there. So maybe, both of these strikers, give them some time. I feel like next season will be the defining season for both of these players. But yeah, let's end the video with some questions, shall we? How do we feel about Eberechi Eze haunting Tottenham Hotspur again this season? Okay, how do we feel about Arsenal being 5 points ahead of Man City? Is it Arsenal's Premier League title to lose? Does Eberechi Eze need a consistent run of games to potentially, developing that starting 11? How do you feel about Tottenham Hotspur this season? Can they get relegated? They're only 4 points ahead of West Ham in 18th place. Can West Ham catch them up? And what's gone wrong for Tottenham Hotspur this season? And yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. It goes a long way helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 295 subscribers. We're only 5 subscribers away from our main target, 300. Let's go and smash it. I just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, I really do hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.